The education system in America is in desperate need of reformation. America is quickly slipping on nearly every single subject category on the world scale, specifically science, technology, engineering, and math. What's the cause of all this? Let's take a look at how the education system in America is run. First, we'll start with the age-old question: federal control or state control?
State authority over education benefits the handicapped, the gifted, the non-English speaking, and the disadvantaged because it gives the local government more control financially so that no one falls through the cracks due to geographical errors.
Why should we be cautious about federal control in regards to education?
Federal authority over education is a different story in regards to location because it not only affects a particular area, but it affects the country as a whole. School finance reforms also help create social equity among local schools.
Individual schools have individual needs, and at times a federal mandate or requirement can be too broad and overlook the needs of smaller schools in smaller communities. While federal regulation looks good in concept, it isn't always practical in reality.
In general, do you know what the Common Core is in relation to education?
No, not at all.
Yes.
So what is the Common Core, and is it really that important if people don't even know how it affects them? Turns out it is pretty important, as it sets the standards of what a student is expected to learn throughout the course of the year. Similar to the Common Core is the No Child Left Behind Act enacted by President Bush in 2001.
Virginia's flexibility under the No Child Left Behind Act, enacted in 2001, has shown progress within the annual measurable objectives. These are more commonly known as AMOs. These AMOs are used to show the percentage of students that are needed to pass SOLs, which are standards of learning tests required at the end of each year. The goal of passing these SOLs are to reduce the noticeable gap of skills between students within lower income schools and higher income schools.
We asked Dr. Kyle Rhodes, a retired superintendent of Bland County Public Schools, his thoughts on the No Child Left Behind initiative.
I believe that the initiative has merit in that all students deserve various accommodations and instructional techniques to reach their fullest potential and to attain a minimum competency in reading and mathematics and other academic core subjects. But it is flawed by the reporting system that does not provide a true measure of student growth. Rather than generate a score at one moment in time, it would be better to present a sort of portfolio that demonstrates that students were not left behind.
No Child Left Behind was passed in 2001, the year before I became a senator. It's become unworkable because Congress and the President failed to reauthorize and amend the law when it expired over 7 years ago. Under the terms of the law, the original provisions continue, but that's what's made it unworkable. Those original provisions, continuing today, if strictly applied, would label as a failing school almost every one of our 100,000 public schools.
You've heard a lot about standardized testing, but what is it and how does it work? The Common Core and No Child Left Behind uses it to measure the success of a student in a class in a year. But is it an accurate measurement?
Do you think SOLs reflect the material you learned over the year?
Basically, but more so they were easier than the tests that I had taken throughout the year.
I don't think they're helpful because I don't think you honestly need them in the real life when you get older.
I think they're beneficial as a guideline for everyone.
Last year it was estimated that there were approximately 3 million high school dropouts. In a test performed by the OECD, Americans ranked 36th in math, 25th in reading, and 28th in science. That is below average in every single category. Furthermore, in a survey done by the National Center for Education Statistics, teenagers also showed a very large drop in math, science, and reading from 2009 to 2012. Teenagers dropped from 20th to 24th in science, 11th to 21st in reading, and 25th to 31st in math. While there is no shortage of reasons for this drop, many people believe that the form of standardized testing is among them. Teachers feel the need to teach to the test because if their students do not pass, they could possibly lose their job. This ensures that while students may learn how to answer an ABCD format test, they're not actually being taught the information they need to know. This alone could be extremely damaging to a student's education. Students are being taught what to think, not how to think. It's not a good assessment of intelligence. Children have different thought processes and learning style. While one student may be good at process of elimination, and though does not actually know the answer to a question, can figure it out by eliminating the incorrect answers, another student who did know the question may be overwhelmed by the ABCD choices and talk themselves out of the correct answer that they originally had. Another issue with having a standardized test is that subjects such as English and literature are completely different than that of science and math. Because math has a quantifiable answer, it is feasible for it to be assessed using an ABCD format. Literature, however, is up for interpretation to the individual, and such a closed-minded assessment can be very confusing to a student. Gerald Bracey put it well when he listed the qualities overlooked and quenched by standardized testing: creativity, critical thinking, resilience, motivation, persistence, curiosity, endurance, reliability, enthusiasm, empathy, self-awareness, self-discipline, leadership, civic-mindedness, courage, compassion, resourcefulness, sense of beauty, sense of wonder, honesty, integrity. The education system affects the future of every student and every community, but how can we fix this broken system to ensure that we all reach our fullest potential in our future?
While the federal government should ensure that the overall qualities of education in America is met, the state government should have more control over specific programs and allocations of funding based on their individual needs.
Though tests are needed for general assessment, passing a test should never be the goal of a course. However, learning how to apply the material to life should be, and a crucial way to ensure this is to employ teachers with enough working experience to hands-on connect with students in application and material.
America needs to remember the true goal for education. It's not about who got the highest grade on a test. It's about who learned those concepts, who applied it to their life, and who used it to better not only their own future, but the future of America as a whole.